Good evening, everybody. And I'm Tracy Gelb, and this is Living a Graceful Life, my show. And I am so excited to have my guest, Maria Skinner, on with me this evening. She is a fellow Ageless Grace trainer and educator, and we are part of the beautiful Ageless Grace family, founded by Denise Medved, who is our everything, our mentor, our shining star. And we have some educators and trainers on here with us, as well as all people, Ageless Grace, that take the classes. And we were just talking about how important this program is and how really important and imperative it is. So with that being said, welcome, Maria. I'm so happy to have you. And I want to hear a little bit about your journey to get to Ageless Grace.
Whoa. Wow, wow. I don't know where to start. Well, I've been a mover my whole life, and I always knew that I felt so much better when I danced and when I moved. And I went through a whole bunch of different, clubbing a lot, San Francisco and New York. So I spent a lot of time in clubs. That was like really my first thing. And then I started taking African dance. I started
Wow.
doing samba. I started doing contact improv. And then from there, um, I was teaching a little bit. I was dancing a lot. And then somebody sent me a link to the Nia technique and said, hey, I think you'd really like this. And that was when I was like 29. So that's when I got certified to teach Nia. And then I was like head up, like taught for like 20 years. I live in Massachusetts. I had my own studio. I was teaching so many classes. And I loved it. And then at some point I was a trainer for a while, and then I transitioned into feeling like there was something with dance that I wanted to do that was beyond the technique. So I left the Nia technique at the same time that I was connecting with Denise around Ageless Grace. And then I still teach movement, I still teach dance, and a lot of what I teach also has integrated a lot of the Ageless Grace, the brain health fitness into my movement classes. But that was around 2011. By 2014, I was a trainer, and I've been like doing that since then. And I love it. I feel like Ageless Grace is just um, almost like a vision. It's like a vision for the way in which we can live, not just now, but in our bodies. Like I just recently applied for a grant that's for a dementia and Alzheimer's organization called I'm Still Here. Grant
Mm.
is creating an experience of I'm still here, right? Because I feel like what happens with a lot of people as they get older and the culture does it, it's like you're no longer here, right? And it's like, no, I'm still here. Like I'm still here, I'm still playing, I'm still dancing, I'm still in love with music. And I just feel like really when Denise says, our mission is to create a new way of aging, I just feel like yes, and part of that is to continue to expand our spirits, to keep growing, to keep playing in community. So yeah, I mean, I hope that answers your question, but that's
Oh,
how
it
I got here.
does. No, it does. And I think that that's when we were talking, before the show. I think, what I really feel, and I had somebody ask me, which I told you yesterday, do I teach anything else? Which I don't. I'm trained to teach chair yoga and to teach some different things for Silver Sneakers. I love teaching this program. This program has changed my life. It has saved my life. It has changed my brain. I've seen the wonders that it's done for my mom, who is a trainer and an educator as well, and has brought a couple of specialty trainings, which is we'll go into the one you're going to be doing, for Alzheimer's and for Parkinson's and for these important demographics. I've seen what it's done to the whole community for the people that we teach and the friends that we've made and the unbelievable community that Ageless Grace is, and how it's like a group of people that automatically when you come around them that their mission in life is to help others. There's not even a doubt. There's not one thing in any way that is not positive about Ageless Grace and about the community. Everybody's different, everyone's individual, but everybody is here for the same reason, and that's to really, really, really help. I see people that have had a hard week, and people that have had a rough day, and people that are, having all kinds of things in their life, laughing, playing. And they'll tell me after the class, we got to pick grapes for wine, and we got to go on an airplane somewhere to Aruba, and we got to do all of these beautiful things and activate our brain at the same time. There's nothing like it. And I want to actually, we hadn't even planned this, but I think this is really important. Tell me, Maria, like why you feel, and I feel the same way, that the chair thing kind of gets in our way, and why it's so important for people to know that it's
Yeah,
really.
as you were talking, one thing occurred to me, which is that another thing that I love about Ageless Grace is that because we're playing, we're not working. And so it gets rid of that whole competition thing, and just the idea of having playmates and being in a playground. And I know that I feel like in some ways the idea of having to be first and having to do the best and having to be the one. So like being in a chair, like I think it's like the number 5 reason for being in a chair is that we're all on an even playing field. And like I love that. Um, I also love like it activates the core like nothing else. You're already using your imagination. It activates the energy centers. Yeah, but a lot of people like it. I feel like they don't understand it. They don't understand that part. And I feel like they feel like being in a chair is like an admission that you're no longer able to not be in a chair. And if I could change anything about the way ageless grace is perceived, it would be that. Because a lot of people move on to chair yoga when they can no longer do standing yoga. So this competition thing plays into it, but I feel like the chair is there for so many reasons that have nothing to do with like your ability. It does help, right? Like today I
Yeah.
had somebody in class in a wheelchair and they can't get up, but nobody else was getting up. So it was like, oh, it's an even playing field.
Mhm.
But I do feel, especially for other people here that also teach Jesus Grace, I just feel like part of the conversation for everybody has to be, we're in a chair. Um, because it's really like you can do so many things in a chair that you cannot do standing up. You know what I mean? Like just flip it, because that's true. I can swim much better in a chair than I can standing up.
Yes. Yeah, and I joke around with them when I had 2 new students today. I had a bunch new in my one class, but 2 in my other, and I started like moving around with my feet
Right.
in
You
the
can
air.
fly better in a chair.
Yeah, and I said, I don't want, we're not going to try this standing up with our feet in the air. And they laugh, but I think, the whole, I get a good workout. And this is what I told them today as well. I said, the workout is up to us. If you want to do shake it up and you're going to do this, or you're going to do this, it's up to us to get everything moving. It's our choice. I get a great, unbelievable workout in a chair. The days that I only do one class, I really, I still feel it. There's, I do a special thing, which I don't know if you know, with grab bag, where I've come up with something, and my mom helped me, and some of my students, I let us all interact, where we do numbers from 1 through 40, where we do like 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 40, where the brain, it's so brain centric, and it's so good for the
Wow,
memory
that sounds
and
great.
recall. I'll send you the video. It's wonderful. And I get so proud of my gang when I see them. I teach Zoom, and I see them on Zoom, and I'll say like, tell me 25, and they're doing the 25, and I really feel proud. I feel like it's different things. We all get to be our own. I had a student ask me, do you guys all do the same like certifications or research? And I said, we get recertified, but we're all individual. We all teach the way
Yeah,
that we
it's highly creative.
are.
So yeah, it really does allow for self-expression, and for self-expression that's constantly changing because like I might get that thing that you showed me and I'll be like, oh my God, look at all this. Well, I'm going to do it this way, right? Because that's what we
Yes.
do. We are creative beings. So in terms of changing the face of aging, I think it also is really amazing in terms of changing the way that we are creative beings. Like our creativity is our birthright. Like we are here to create, and not just the women, the men are too. Like
Yes.
we are here to create. And I feel like ageless grace, it's like, yes, it stimulates neuroplasticity. And I believe that creativity comes from neuroplasticity, right? But it also stimulates like the emotional body and it stimulates vision, it stimulates the ability to think outside the box. I mean, that's what we're constantly thinking outside the box, like what else can I do? And I love that Denise always says that, she's always like, well, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I'm like, oh my God, like I love that.
I think that that's, yeah,
And I definitely want to see that hand thing.
oh, I'm going to send it to you. It's so much fun. And I tell you, I have a woman that lives in North Carolina half the year. And when she comes, she practices it. And I know she does because when she's here the 6 months, like I'll be like, who knows number, 18, which is a heart. And she'll be the first one. And I don't want to ever put her on the
Um,
spot, but I'm like, I think Jane practices when she's in North Carolina. These are the things that are fun and we laugh about it. We have, you know, I really feel like the trips that we take in our imagination and creativity, the places that we go back to being on the playground. What if somebody played softball or basketball or we get to paint sometimes when times are harder, as things can get a little tense. I'll have people paint or just I'll tell them, think of one thing you love, one person you love, and paint them and just paint them in your mind. And I mean, it's so emotional and it's just wonderful. I respect Denise so much and all the trainers and educators and all the people that go and take their time to go. I thank them when they come. I tell them, you could be somewhere else. I tell them that on Zoom, give yourself a hug. You could be anywhere else, but you're doing this for your brain, and our brain is so, I joke around with them like that expression, like happy wife, happy life, happy brain, happy life, happy
oh
brain,
yeah,
happy life.
absolutely.
You agree?
So do you know Sarah McKay? Did you do the Sarah McKay
I have not, but I know of her.
brain?
Yes. Did
Okay.
you do it?
So yeah, I did. And I constantly review it, and I get her newsletters. And
Yes.
so a recent one that I think is very kind of poignant for our times is that they found that people that use generative AI, either chat GPT or whatever that thing is
Yes.
called. I don't even know because I just like take it off my computer,
Yeah.
and use AI programs to create things for them. The neuroplasticity in their brains for creativity actually starts shutting down. We become less creative by using AI. Okay. And supposedly, I mean, this is the study that she posted. It doesn't come back. We can't get it back. It's almost like I used to be a map reader. Like I used to love maps. I used to look at the maps, and then I had photographic memory where I would be driving and I would be like, I know exactly where I am because I could see the map in my mind. Okay. This was like when I was in like my early 20s. And at some point, GPS came along, right?
Mm.
And now I follow my GPS. And I feel like, oh my God, I've lost that skill. I mean, maybe I can get it back by studying maps again. I don't really know. But I feel like that was a skill that I had, and it's no longer here.
Well, I think that's
Um,
interesting that you're saying that about the AI, because I think it makes a lot of sense. Everything, when I tell people that up until when my sister passed, it'll be 8 years, she did every technological thing for me in my entire life, and pretty much for my mom too. My mom got a little, I didn't know how to turn on a computer. I did not know, I'm not exaggerating. I'd never answered an email. I didn't know how to answer an email. I lived a kind of simple life for somebody that got through, 40 years or so of having a sister that, helped me through everything. And I didn't realize really until, we lost her how technology has kind of taken over. And when the pandemic happened, I absolutely panicked because all the people were allowing me to go on Zoom. And I remember, like, I mean, just the first class I did, I didn't realize it was only 40 minutes and you had to get more time, and the class finished in the middle, and this one couldn't hear me and this one couldn't see me. And listen, that still happens now. But I think that
yeah.
we live in such a technological existence, good and bad. The Zoom is a total blessing because we get to do this, and we do get to do
Yeah,
our,
yeah. No, I think some things are fantastic, and I'm not dissing
oh,
technology, but
no,
just
I
that
agree.
particular piece of
Yeah.
handing over our creativity. I mean, we've done so many creative things with Zoom, and I totally get you on that learning curve. Like when, March 2020, March 12th, I was doing a live Ageless Grace training. March 14th, we were all in the house. And I went from teaching 7 classes a week to 7 classes on Zoom. And the first few weeks were excruciating, literally. Like the music didn't sound good, and like nobody could figure out how to do the screens, and like,
But look at us
yeah,
now. But I know exactly what you're saying. I think that there's a balance, and I think we have with Ageless Grace. It's funny because I'll even tell people I want to send you my hands, and they're like, "Oh, I don't have an email," and I'll be like, "Huh?" Like because I. But you know what? I never use. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things I think with Ageless Grace. It's like almost going back to basics. It's going. We're on the Zoom, but we're still having
we're
a
still
time.
playing.
We're still playing, and we're still. I don't know another thing. When I was growing up, I have some friends that I grew up with, and they would do one in particular, very very artistic, would do funny skits, and she would draw. If a boy was mean to us, she'd draw him like a bathing suit or a poem about him, and we would just crack up. And I'm talking in our teens and like early 20s. I'm embarrassed to say, but we would just have such a blast laughing. And then when times were dark after we lost my sister, and then, different things happened in life just very struck us down, Ageless Grace has brought us back up. And I really believe that it's been such a true blessing. I can't even say as much. It's been something, it's been a life changer. I was even thinking, and I want to get into that because that was about you teaching in Spanish. I was thinking today, all throughout the day, who do I know that could teach in Spanish? I have 4 friends that are from different parts that are Hispanic, and that doesn't include my good friend that's on here now. I have 4 separate ones that one of them has gone to Aegis Grace, and I was thinking they could change their careers by doing this. Things where they go to a place that they one of them told me flat out, I don't love going there. My boss is mean to me. I sit in a chair all day, and I'm thinking to myself, she's Hispanic, she's beautiful and funny. She could do this and have this gift that we have because it's a gift. So with that, I wanted you to tell us because it's a blessing. Tell us about teaching in Spanish.
Yeah, so I was born in Uruguay in South America. So I mean, we're kind of like my family did the whole hopping from one war to another, right? So my mom is Italian, family's from Italy, my dad's dad is from Italy. They all moved to Uruguay after World War II. Well, my dad was there before because he was born in Uruguay. And then in 1973, there was a military takeover in Uruguay, a coup, and we came
Uh-huh.
up to the States. I was almost 8 years old, so like I don't have an accent, and they say that seven is the like after 7 years old, it's difficult to get rid of an accent, but before 7 or 7 on, it's pretty easy. So like,
Mm.
I mean, but also I've lost some of my Spanish, not a lot, but I mean, I learned how to speak Spanish up to the 8-year-old level, and then in college I started reading in Spanish, like 100 Years of Solitude in Spanish, but really, my Spanish is like up to the fourth grade. And you really don't need much more for ageless grace, right? Um, so anyway, it just came to me, and I've realized because I've taught some classes in Spanish that I almost feel like a different person when I'm speaking Spanish. Like think about neuroplasticity, and like part of a language is lengua, right?
Yeah.
Using your
Yeah.
tongue. When
Yeah.
I speak English, I still feel tension in here. I still feel like I'm forcing the words. I've been speaking it for 50 years, okay? But I still feel that way. Y después cuando hablo en español, no sé si tú podés oírlo, pero me siento como que soy otra persona. Las palabras me salen de la boca tan fácilmente. So that's my intrigue, is like, I want to spend more time speaking Spanish, and I want to do it with my, you know, Latino brothers and sisters, or anybody else that wants to speak Spanish. I mean, actually, I was in Spain last year. My husband and I walked up El Camino del Norte. And
Mhm.
while I was there, I mean, I'm walking through like, Bilbao, what an amazing city, and walking along the shore and all these cities. And I was like, wow, like maybe I could come and do like Ageless Grace in Spain and just hop around from city to city. So a little bit, it's like my dream, you know, parte de mi sueño. Um, but the other piece, which is like the service piece, is that there are a lot of people in this country, um, in the aging population that do speak Spanish, and connecting to their mother language through Ageless Grace, I think is wonderful, to reconnect to that playful, like this is, because again, it's like my mother language. When I do Ageless Grace in Spanish, I have a fantastically fun time. I feel like I'm a little girl again. And I think it's because that language is linked. So, I mean, those are my reasons for putting it together. I think that maybe the world has a bigger vision for it, to just have Ageless Grace be something that we're sharing with more of the world.
Mm.
But those are my personal reasons.
And I know you're doing a training, you told me July 11th and 12th on,
Yeah, so I'm starting with a Zoom training because nobody in Spain has hauled me over there yet. And then I've been trying to figure out, like, how do we do? I mean, I know Denise does trainings internationally because I would do it through Ageless Grace, but
yeah.
like,
Oh,
do I
this will
need?
be so. My story a little bit is when I was growing up, I worked at a bar where they were Peruvian. My friends were Peruvian, and they started these parties with Peruvian music, and they even had singers come and this guy Charlie Garcia, who was supposedly very famous in Peru, and I got obsessed with this group called Mana, and it was like
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful music. I started really getting into Hispanic music. I was dating somebody that was Peruvian, and then I worked in this restaurant and bar with my friends, my good friends, and we learned how to speak Spanish. I mean, we would say like no propina no no includa, or propina no está incluida. We had different types of beers. They would have Argentinian nights, so we would say che dame un chelita, and we would learn
That's
to
great.
count in Spanish, give money back in Spanish, and throughout my life, this music fascinated me. Like I love Romeo Santos, and I love. I play Enrique Iglesias in my classes. I play Despacito. I play Besame Mucho. I count with them in Spanish. I'll tell them because I have some ladies that are bilingual. So I'll count, in my live classes, I'll count with them in Spanish when I'm doing body map. And I'll tell them, if you don't speak Spanish, don't worry, just count in English. And I have this one cheer that I learned at the bars that we used to always do. And I do it with, I have a couple of the gentlemen that are Hispanic, and I'll say arriba, abajo, al centro, para
Dentro, adentro. Yeah, yeah, that's great.
laugh and have.
That's great.
It's so beautiful. I love everything about. I love hearing Spanish. I wish that I had. I mean, I've dated and been very involved with three Hispanic men in my life. For whatever reason, it just worked out. One Dominican and one Cuban and one Colombian were my most serious relationships. And I would speak Spanish with them. It was so romantic. The music they would play for me and the things that I learned, the food that I ate, especially the Dominican food, it was so interesting to me and so wonderful. And I think that this is going to be so. I mean, I keep having, like, every day I'm thinking of different people. I have my mom and I have a place that is assisted living memory care we teach. And the women that do the physical therapy are Hispanic and they're lovely. And I was thinking, oh, and I would love her to, because they come in, they see my class and they kind of dance around and, count when I'm doing stuff. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I really hope and pray that the universe will allow
Yeah.
this to
Well,
happen for you.
dance, I think it's more in the Latin part of the culture. Not so much in Spain, although Spain does have that tradition of, people coming together and playing music.
Yeah.
Um, but the Latin countries, I mean, dancing just happens. It's like you go out, it's everywhere. Like here, I had to go to clubs, right? America, or in my living room, which I'm still dancing in my living room now. But yeah, that culture and the music, right? I mean, I didn't, but like the music is like amazing. And I think partly because in the Latin countries, so much of it is that fusion
Mm.
of African, Amerindian, like Peruvian, I mean,
Mm.
like Peruvian hip hop is like, whoosh, wow, right? I
Amazing.
mean, yeah. And what's really interesting is that, if you follow the diaspora of like the flamenco guitar, how it relates to the Mexican sound, and then also like the reggae coming through reggaeton through Panama.
Mm.
I mean, in South America, the tango and then the candomblé and like the African coming in, and then it went back to Europe, right? So there's this incredible band called Ojos de Bruja from Spain that fuses flamenco and hip hop and trip hop. And it's like, you just feel like I mean, I'm getting chills. Like music is this organic, alive thing, you know? And so, yeah, bring on
Is
the
that,
Latin music.
oh, is that Eyes of Witch? Is that what it's the name in
Yeah,
English? Would it be the Eyes
Eyes of the Witch.
of the Witch? I want to just say also, I think it's so wonderful. You were telling me that you do a complimentary introduction to Ageless Grace, and you're going to do it for the one in Spanish as
Yeah, well,
well.
I do them periodically, and I just
Okay.
promote them because it brings people in. But I'm doing one in English on April 1st, and I'm doing one in Spanish on April 15th. So anybody that that wants to see, like, well,
Yes.
what is it? So like what I do in these intros is I talk a little bit about Ageless Grace and like the five functions of the brain, and the intro, right? Like a little bit of the intro that we do for
Mm.
the seminar, and then I give them a little taste of Ageless Grace, so like 5 tools. And then I find that, as Denise always says, that it's hard to explain, but once people do it, they're like, oh, right? So that's why I do them. So yeah, if anybody here wants to come, or if you know anybody that's
Oh,
interested, I can
definitely. And I'll spread it, or
send you all the info.
yeah, send me the info and I'll put it to my email list. I'll definitely
Yeah, they're
send
on
it.
Zoom. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
do
that's
that. I'll send it to you
wonderful.
later.
And I think the Spanish one, what I would like to do, what I'm going to do is my friends that are bilingual, I'm going to send them this just to, so they can check it out and perhaps, they could consider taking the training. If when I tell you I started teaching, I got trained in 2016 by my fabulous Mama Lana, who's
Oh
on
yeah,
here.
who's here, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
Lana.
And Lana. And she trained me, and I remember thinking, like, I'm never going to teach this. Like, this is just a thing. I'm going to placate her and my sister. At the time, I'd been in the bar restaurant industry and taking care of children earlier, and then bar and restaurant. And this was not something that I was like not doing. And somehow,
Here you are.
8 years later, 15 classes a week, I can't imagine doing anything else. And I even think about things like, it's going to sound weird, but when people are a little fearful with their jobs right now, different things in the world, I have my job. I know that I'm always going to have it's not a job. I don't even like calling it a job. I was telling my class the other day, I said, this is my favorite thing I've ever done, my favorite job. And then I said, I don't even think of this as a job. I loved taking care of kids. I loved being a bartender, believe it or not. But this is different because taking care of kids was great, giving back. This is really to see the smiles and the happiness and the fun and knowing that it's so good for our brains and our souls and our
Yeah, and our souls. Well, especially now, and you were talking about like all the stress that's out in the world. I feel like, just remembering that there's joy, and having that vacation, like that thing you were saying before about how it's like we take an Asia's Grace class and it's like a vacation from all the, right?
stuff. Yes, yes. And it's everything from, like, today I did some tapping, to close it, or I'll try to do different things that are healing modalities to shake it up. A lady came up to me after class and said she's been feeling a little down. She went to see somebody to talk about it, and they told her to shake. They said,
Wow. You
she
were
told
like,
the lady,
yeah,
I do shake it
shake
up.
it up, baby. Yeah.
Shake it up, baby. And she was, our nervous system needs this, all of these things. And I think it's to bring it to a whole nother, you'll bring it to a whole nother world by teaching it in Spanish and by training it in Spanish. You will. I mean, you really will. And I think, and we can do a whole nother show on music because I know you're very,
Oh yeah, no, we are. I think that we talked about that before. We could just
yes,
play songs for people.
different.
It's
I
like, remember
cannot,
when you used to play records with your friends, put on a
yes,
record
and
and play
have fun.
records?
Maria, I can't believe this time we have 1 minute left. So
Wow.
I know it's crazy, but give me your email so I can say it out loud so it'll be on the
Okay,
video.
yeah, so super simple. It's Maria Skinner Dreams at gmail.com.
Okay.
Maria Skinner Dreams DREAMS at gmail.com.
And now you have to spell that backwards for everybody. Oh,
No,
no.
I could try.
No, no, no. That'll be for our next show. We're gonna practice it, and we're gonna thank you so much. and now we're going to chat a little more, but thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. I'm
Yeah,
grateful.
thanks for having me. Fun, fun.
Thank you for coming. And